My name is Logan, and ever since I inherited this plot of land from Sam, I have been forced to fight a never-ending war against pests. No matter how many insects I suck, they just won't stop coming. The battle never ends. It's not even about winning the fight anymore, it's just about not losing. I now have over 1,000 pests stored in my vacuum sack. And, fun fact, a man's body produces 1,500 pests in their sacks every second. So I suppose I should pick up the pace then. Welcome to the garden, your special, eternal hell. We hope you enjoy your stay, because it'll be a long one. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to be kept here against your will. You'll be staying here by choice, because as much as I hate to admit it, farming is addicting. After a few hours, you'll eventually forget what grass is, and your family's opinion on you will plummet, even lower than it already was. I, like many others, have a Stockholm Syndrome-like relationship with the garden. It hurts so bad, but it feels so good. The silly sounds make my brain release funny chemicals. It's like the kind of dopamine you get from doing hardcore drugs, just without the drawbacks. It basically just removes the bad part of drugs and turns it virtual. It's amazing. It's genius. Just one more farm cycle. Just a few more visitors. Just a few more million coins. Believe me, it will never end. I've fallen victim to it too, but after a while, it starts to become stale. Instead of the constant breaking of crops dinging in your ears being satisfying, it starts to become annoying. And the time it takes to fulfill your next milestone, or satisfy your next visitor, lengthens indefinitely. This place really is purgatory. The garden is psychologically manipulating all of you, using basic hooking and delayed gratification methods to hijack your brain. Come, young one, take my hand. We'll all become woke and boycott the garden together. Kidding, of course. So many people farm on the garden, it's ridiculous. There are 30,000 people online right now, and I'll bet that at least a good 10% of them are actively farming. My source? If they would just give but a fraction of their proceeds to the starving children in Madagascar, world hunger would be immediately solved. But no, we'd rather sell our millions of crops to the already wealthy, always for the same price of 2 coins per melon slice, forever gatekeeping the surplus of food from those children that are suffering in those third world countries. But hey, I mean, I guess I can't blame you. You really need that extra 100 mil to buy that talisman for +1 strength, and it looks like double the rights. Before the garden released, farming was officially recognized as a torture method by all 195 countries. As an average player, this was about the extent of the farming you did, and if you wanted to go above and beyond, you were forced to get a PhD in agricultural architecture and design just to stand a chance in farming contests. What's a farming contest? I don't know, ask this guy. Every hour, Jacob here schedules a farming contest that'll last 20 minutes, so it's got a 33% uptime. They're definitely not few and far between, but getting first place in these is a royal pain. Jacob advertises a bronze, silver, and gold bracket, but there's 2 hidden ones called platinum and diamond. And oh boy. Just look at the sheer difference between platinum and gold here. And this isn't even showing diamond because I've never scored diamond in anything. I've got about 800 hours of playtime, over 100 of which were spent on the garden, and I can't even score in the top bracket. Anyways, you'd of course start by farming on the public islands. You can find wheat, carrot, potatoes, melons, and pumpkins on the barn, and pretty much everything else on the desert settlement. Now this would be perfectly viable to farm, except I just lied to you, because there doesn't seem to be many carrots or potatoes anywhere here. And the problem with the public farming islands is just that. The islands are public. Like, do you really need this many carrots? Think of the children. You could optionally take the crops and go build a giant farm on your private island, but that was about it. I guess the contests, pets, and tools existed, but really nothing more. It made some money, I guess, but not a whole lot. Not like you can do much with these crops either way. You'd be better off selling rare items or a multitude of weapons on the black market. February 14th, 2023. The garden update. The first time I was happy since 1995, and that wasn't because I had a Valentine. Out of all 365 days out of the year, they chose to drop this update on Valentine's Day, the day of love. It was quite a gamble to drop an update this big on such an important day, but I guess the admins found that we weren't going to be doing anything better anyways. Even on release, the garden was a massive deal. You can purchase plots from the renowned landlord and top streamer S-Vand. It was made way too easy to create plots for every crop. I mean, these presets literally do it for you. And they eventually had the bright idea to introduce bugs that'll just try and eat your crops. And the gameplay was a great way to fall asleep. And on top of all that, the worst thing this update did was this. The garden had made everyone turn rich, and when you have an item that can only be brought into the economy by spending real money, well, you know. Sam makes you farm for her and bosses you around. Negative 2,000 aura for that one. Then after a while, she just kinda stands here and doesn't do anything. Doesn't help you farm, doesn't help you fulfill visitors, she just stands there. It's cold out here, why don't you come inside then? The composter will turn your hard-earned crops into compost. It takes a long time to generate what you need, unless you buy it from the bazaar for basically free. He's practically paying you to take it off of him at this point. I mean, who would have thought that dirt would be this cheap? I'm at the point where the game's asking me for 8 compost bundles to unlock 1 plot, and a compost bundle is made out of 160 regular compost, and with these taking 10 minutes to make each, I'm gonna be here for a minute. The desk right here is kind of like the menu of the garden. You can access Amazon, renovate your barn, and fantasize over hitting milestone average 40. As I said before, the garden is made up of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 plots, and the desk allows you to buy land virtually like a real patriot, though soon you'll come to realize that the plots that you're buying are just that. They're just plots of land. They're not flat, they're not ready to be renovated yet. You've got to clean up a mess. After doing this for long enough, spring cleaning doesn't seem so bad anymore now, does it? I love this gameplay, it's so satisfying, right guys? The admins really hit the nail on the head with this one, and once it's clean, well, clean enough, it's yours. Build on it, destroy it, explode it, bop it, twist it, pull it, your land, your choice. For one, I chose to build massive farms on it, like everyone else. Because it's my land, I get to abuse trespassing laws to lawfully remove things from my garden, like pests. Oh dear God, pests. Very shortly after the garden released, everything suddenly became a lot more expensive. But what could be the cause of this? Surely it's not by letting new players get their hands on way too much money way too early on. Oh yeah, it's gotta be macroers. Which they were partly right. I mean, how else do you think I got this much money? Okay, for legal reasons, this is a joke. It was more obvious and stuck out more than this double-decker bugged lamp in the middle of the hub. Something had to be done about this, and something they did. And in an attempt to tone down inflation, the admins introduced pests to combat people that would, let's call it, farm during downtime. And who would have thought that this would have resulted in one of the most annoying updates Skyblock has ever seen? Pests will spawn every now and then while actively farming, with a limit of 8 at once. 4 or more active pests will temporarily reduce your farming fortune for as long as they stay alive, and keeping any more than 4 will just worsen the effect. Like, look at me, I'm at negative 50% right now. Now macros will have to farm with a 75% farming fortune reduction, which sure is helping, but it isn't realistically going to stop them. They'll just see it as a tax, a small price to pay for 100% uptime while farming. And don't even get me started on this stupid ass statistic. It's basically just pest fortune. Some bonus pest chance sources are toggleable, like the artifact right here, but the pest terminator enchant on my armor or the wriggling larva? Forget it. And it's not like the enchant is optional either, it gives farming fortune. Must be optimized. Cannot lose farming fortune. Anyways, here's a pest tier list. Fly. Flies are the first pest you unlock, along with 4 others, and you can do the funny during a week contest with the right setup and enough luck. Overall, this is like the default pest. A tier. Crickets. Every pest has at least one desirable, relatively rare drop, and even though I've sucked nearly 200 crickets, I still haven't gotten its special drop, the chirping stereo. It's almost like these guys want to get sucked. Life is pain and suffering. F tier. Locusts. They're basically just wannabe crickets. There's nothing interesting or unique about them. They even have the same AI. Pathetic existence. C for copycat. Rats. They probably got lost trying to find the hub island. Either that or the admins ran out of pest ideas. Get out of here. You don't belong here. B tier. Mosquitoes. Well, I guess mosquitoes drop the best vacuum reforge, which will end up being quite necessary for the next pest. Yeah, B tier as well. Earthworms. If you can one-shot pests, then they're really no different from anything else. But if you do less than 600 damage, this pest is pain incarnate. He's the devil's finest warrior. He's truly the worst thing since the 2016 American election. Even if you do 1 damage less than 600, he will run away from you a total of 3 times, making him approximately 3 times harder to catch than any other pest. Instant F tier, need I say more? Bite. Oh boy, I might just have a problem with you. D tier, because it was looking a bit empty. Slugs. Well, they give you a bit of pet score. Kind of useless outside of that. Come on, buddy, it won't hurt at all. C tier. Not completely useless, I guess. Moths. Consume live larvae for a stat increase you don't even care about. Oh, what's that? Skyblock XP? Say less! A tier. And finally, the beetle. Around every 28 kills, you'll be given a Peststerminator book from a beetle. And this enchant goes all the way up to tier 5, requiring 16 Peststerminator 1 books. In total, you'll need it 5 times for every single armor piece. So if my math is correct, on average, with no farming fortune, you'll need to kill over 2,000 beetles to get enough books for your entire armor set. 2,000 beetles, and I've only killed over 100. Well, there's only one way to get there. D tier. The one thing I forgot to mention is that when a pest spawns, you have to ruin your farming angle that you spent so long getting, just so you can get on up and find it. Mandatory F tier for all. Remember Heyday? Yeah, the mobile game? Don't worry, I'm not about to hit you with a video sponsor ad. Remember the visitors that would appear and ask for your materials in exchange for money? Yeah, well, it looks like the Hypixel devs really like that idea, so they put it into Skyblock. Visitors can arrive on your island and ask for any crops depending on your garden level. And the rewards they offer will usually scale with what they demand. Usually. And they're all labeled with rarities, with the rarest one being... You can start by screwing off until level 5, and then talking to Sam and doing her quest. Farm wheat and provide excellent customer service to visitors. Buy the advanced gardening hoe and the advanced gardening axe. Replenish is and will forever be my king. Suck pests for early game crop milestones. Unlock farms and paste more crops. Create massive farms that span across multiple plots to farm more efficiently. And that's basically it. If you're insane, I guess you can try and find the spaceman. He's more of a trophy to show off how much spare time you have in your day-to-day life. Other than that, you're just here for Skyblock XP and money. So, have fun. The garden is sleeper content. Anyone that disagrees is just simply coping. The gameplay loop is mostly just farming, sucking pests and clearing visitors, and repeating. You can farm with one hand if your keybinds are set up right, so you can eat, scroll through TikTok, or touch yourself while farming. Getting every single crop milestone to tier 46 takes billions of crops. And I guess the admins stopped at 46 instead of 50 because even they realized how crazy this was getting. So I hope you've got a few TV shows and movies lined up, because you'll need them for the garden. I am not endgame in the garden. I'm not endgame anywhere, matter of fact. No matter how badly I want to piss off the diehard Skyblock players by saying I'm endgame, I just know it's not true. But I still think I can get a good idea of what it's like. Waking up, going to work, coming home, and farming all night long for several months at a time. All just to increase that crop milestone by a singular level and gaining 1 Skyblock XP. Upgrading the composter costing you hundreds of millions of coins, with tears in your eyes, knowing full well that you haven't used it in months and you'll probably never use it again. Or you could just ignore this place altogether and play dungeons or Kudra instead of farming. I've heard it makes more coins anyways. And yeah, I think that's just about everything. Don't cry because it's over. Go watch my other stuff if you can't get enough of that Skyblock slop I post online. Subscribe, like, and comment something for the algorithm, or I will unload my vacuum full of pests into your garden next.